Well, good day, guys. My name is Angus, and this is my official debut on my new YouTube channel. So, we're going to talk about Super Rugby, Curry Cup, Test Rugby, you name it. Look, I've been a fanatic for a good couple of years of my life, and I'm going to be honest with you. If you look around, you can see big Stormers fan, Springbok fan, but we won't be biased here. We will be discussing all sorts of teams there is in the Super Rugby competition going forward next year. I'll be discussing basically anything really rugby related. But I think we should probably do a recap of 2019. It's been quite a good year for a few teams and not so good for others. I think we have to start by you have to be neutral about the negatives. I think the All Blacks have been every World Cup they took to win it, and it took them since '87 a good 24 years to win another one. They had to choke a stag every time they entered the World Cup until the one in 2011, where even their own people said, if you don't win it now, when will you win it? And they were back-to-back champions going into this World Cup, odds-on favorites. But you could see there was small cracks, nothing very noticeable, but small cracks. I mean, in the last 2 years, they lost twice to Ireland. They've lost and had a draw against South Africa in New Zealand, which is quite remarkable. And yeah, just they haven't fired in all cylinders at times. I think in the start of this year they played against Argentina in the Rugby Championship and scraped away by 4 points. They could have actually lost that match in the end, and then not successfully collapsed the Argentinian wall. So there was a few cracks, I think, going forward in their game. Also, there was a few things that they didn't actually settle on. For one is the centre pairing. I think personally in the semi-final loss against England, Hansen made a mistake to one pick Scott Barrett at lock, not at lock at loose forward. He's primarily a lock. And I think obviously what he wanted to add some extra line-out options against England, which totally backfired, and he was replaced by Sam Kane in the second half, which kind of mind boggles me because Kane is an actual loose forward. Also, then again, he came off a heavy neck injury. He got in Pretoria the year before in their 32-30 win against the Springboks. But also some other things, like they didn't play Ben Smith, which I think was a massive mistake from the All Blacks. They needed that experience, and the back three they had wasn't quite experienced. They had Jody Barrett with under 50 caps, and they had two wingers. So I think between the two of them, didn't have 20 caps. So Severies and George Bridge were phenomenal in Super Rugby. But I think when it comes to the big matches, you need the experience, and that's where the All Blacks were lacking, and it showed. So maybe on selection, Steve Hansen might have a few regrets. He obviously won't admit it, but the man had a good tenure, 90 plus win percentage, only had a handful of losses. So kudos to the man. He was an awesome servant of All Black Rugby and New Zealand Rugby, and I'm sure he will still, uh, be a good mentor for whoever comes in next, or just be a mentor for whoever he serves next. In any other league he's going to be in. I think he's going to go to a Japanese league, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, I think that's the downside of the whole thing, because everyone thought the All Blacks going to go for a three-peat and it didn't happen. But to be a bit more patriotic, just soothe my throat a bit. I felt a bit under the weather this morning, but I'm fine now. And nonetheless, yeah, if you look at the Springboks this year, I don't think many tipped them to actually win it. I thought many tipped them to do well, possibly make the semi-finals and then get knocked out. Um, but then if you look at the whole setup of the Springboks this year, in contrast to the last World Cup, in 2015 we didn't enter the World Cup, in a good space. I think this is just on the top of my head now. Basically, we had losses to Argentina at home in Durban, a historic first loss to them. We lost to the Wallabies away and to the All Blacks at home, quite narrowly, but still a loss. So we had three losses on the bounce. There were some political issues, and also on the squad selection, of course. I'm not going to elaborate on that. I think we all know what happened there. But in retrospect, it wasn't a good start for Heineke Meyer and his team. I think Heineke at a point in time were too faithful to certain guys who were past his sell by date. He over relied on experience, which basically backfired against the loss against Japan. And due to a Dan Carter drop goal, we almost got into the World Cup final. So that's just the beauty of the game. You can lose to Japan and almost beat the All Blacks. But if I fast forward 4 years later, And I look at the squad that Russia has built. Russia was smart about the whole season, about his whole tenure. He made sure he played against every single team that he was possibly going to play in the World Cup. He knew in which pool he was, but he also knew the permutations of who he might play. So he made sure we played Ireland. He made sure we played Scotland. Um, Not Ireland, my bad. We played Scotland, although we didn't get them. There was a possibility of getting them. Um, he made sure we actually have another tour against Wales at the end of the year, so he can prepare properly, because the first team he had at the start of his tenure basically wasn't a very good squad in terms of, you can say, play personnel. It was very, very much a B team before the England series. So Russia has planned this quite well. Even the week before everyone else arrived in Japan, he organized a friendly against them because he knew there was a chance of getting them in the quarterfinals, which was the case. So smart planning from Rassie Erasmus and the coaching staff and management. But if I look at it, I'm going to go back to the whole year now. I mean, we started well against Australia, Herschel Yankees, tops my man, awesome debut. And then beat Argentina, had a draw with the All Blacks, and we went into this World Cup on a high. We went in with virtually no losses. I was at the test in Pretoria where we played Argentina again with a virtual B team. Subium Corsi running the show, getting his World Cup spot, and didn't play much in the whole tournament, but still showed his class. When he was needed, he was used. I think it was in the semi-final against Wales where Cheslin got a niggle with his ankle, and Subu had to step up, and he did. And then South Africa going on to win the final was just simply amazing. Me and my buddies were in this place, and we just had such a good time. Enjoying the box win. On the Super Rugby front, well done to the Crusaders on their title again. I think it's going to be quite tough for anyone to actually kick them off the pedestal. They have been the trendsetters, since we're even Super Rugby. Although they have lost a ton of experience. I think Jordan Tafua has gone, Kieran Reid's gone, Matt Todd's going to be leaving. But overall, the Crusaders factory is just unbelievable. I think whenever you think there's going to be a loss, look at the whole Dan Carter thing. Carter and McCall was lost, and then boom, here comes Richie Mwang and just took over the show. So there's always another player next in line for the Crusaders. I think other teams, it will take a while for them to catch up, honestly, because it's going to be interesting 2020. I do think, though, that it's just me being biased, I guess, but if you look at squads on paper, the Stormers have signed the most Springboks, or retained the most Springboks. Didn't make much signings. They don't have the best outside backs. I feel they're a bit short and thin on centre and inexperienced as well, with the loss of Damon the Islander. But I think the overall squad they have is quite decent, and they have a new coach in John Dobson, which is quite a smart man. So I think we'll see definite progress, for the Stormers. Unfortunately for the Bulls, I feel for them. Porter Iman had a decent first season as a head coach, and unfortunately for him, he's losing a bulk of World Cup winning Springboks. He's losing the win from Milan, Ergis Snyman, Andre Pollard, just to name a few. And I think if you lose that amount of experience, no matter how good a coach you are going to struggle. But who knows what may happen, Sharks have brought the whole country up. So they have quite a decent squad, and they have a new coaching setup as well. I think the Lions, who have been the flag bearers for South Africa in the last few years, might be the team to struggle again, as they usually have. I hope I'm wrong about this. I'm quite, I won't say I'm a Lions fan, but they do have some sort of soft spot in my heart since forever. But then, if you look at other teams, I'm not too sure about the Aussie sides, to be honest. What's going on there? There's a lot of controversy with, there used to be with the whole Falau saga, and they have a new coach and all that. Even the Super Rugby sides, I'm not sure of who's signing, who's leaving. I know Pocock is gone from the Brumbies. And yeah, I can't say much about the Aussie teams, the New Zealand sides as well. Their squads have been announced, a lot of new faces, but a lot of familiar names as well. And I think, obviously, as they usually do, they will do well next season and probably be the tennis series again. But yeah, and also the Blitzboks, I have to comment on them as well. They have won Dubai earlier this season. Well done to them. And then, unfortunately, lost in Cape Town by basically a conversion. Quite heartbreaking. I was at the event. It was an amazing 3 days. It was amazing to see the women turn up as well and watch them play. And I think it's good for the game that they're getting more exposure as well. Further down the line, I think Curry Cup was quite decent. It wasn't all that bad. Cheetahs winning it, and well done to them. Congratulations to Franco Smith, who will be overseeing Italy now, and good luck to Alvis Fury, who will come from Martis and go coach. Who's actually still busy coaching the Cheetah side on the Pro 14. Also, yeah, the one last thing I want to recap about is the Martis season. It's been a phenomenal season. I think they've gone now 2 seasons without loss and only 1 draw. It was against Puck, I think 32-all in Potch last year, if I'm not mistaken, yeah. Marty's winning back-to-back Varsity Cup titles, an amazing feature from the Stellenbosch side. They will have also a bit of a rebuilding phase, a lot of players leaving. Jordy Chait, who was a revelation for Marty's in his first year, now with the Sharks. Chris Smith, both of them actually now leaving, the centre and the fly half. They will have, obviously, like you could say, this Marty's they always have some sort of next guy in the pipeline, in their rugby factory. So it's quite amazing to think, how well they actually prepare for the next season, and how well they scout talent, same with the Blitzbox. Yeah, I think basically going into next season, we're going to see a lot of surprises. For one, we're going to see the Sunwolves still in Super Rugby. They're going to be leaving in 2021, although there are quite big calls for them to stay in the competition. I do understand why, because Japan did quite well in Super Rugby, and I think a lot of, not Japan, the Sunwolves did well in Super Rugby, and I think a lot of those players who played in the World Cup for Japan will actually play for the Sunwolves now, because what they did was, the Japanese, Jamie Joseph had the guys in camp for the majority of the year, and that's why we had guys like Samisi Masarewa, Jamie Booth, Dan Pryor, all those international players, Gerrit van den Heever, all those guys, playing for the Sunwolves, and not a lot of Japanese players. And I think going forward, they'll probably have a few more Japanese guys next year. And I think if they do well, there might be a call for them to stay in Super Rugby, keep it Super 15, but I do still want the confidence system scrapped. It's a rubbish system, and I think for the last 3 years, the Hurricanes have actually come out worse. I mean, they'll be second on the log according to points, but then they'll be fourth due to the confidence system. It's super unfair on the teams that perform well, and it doesn't look good for Super Rugby. It hasn't helped with the numbers, the viewer numbers. Sansa said that was the whole idea. They wanted the viewers numbers to be there, so each team get a confidence leader, so there's interest when it comes to quarterfinals and semi-finals. Look, to me personally, if you're a rugby fan, you will watch whatever team there is on the day and enjoy it, So, yeah, I think basically that's all it for now for me. Hope you enjoyed this video. Do subscribe, and yeah, I think I'll see you guys in the new year. Till then, cheers, hope you had a good Christmas, and a Happy New Year. That's good.